There's been an uptick in interest all of a sudden in storable food, and so I want to warn you that most of the storable food companies, and this has been true over the years, are really engaged in deceptive marketing. They have garbage ingredients, they're full of GMOs, they're full of MSG, they're full of toxic chemicals in many cases. I'll tell you which ones. I've actually got a chart on it. I've done the research in my lab. And what they really try to do is push for a total calorie count so that they can say, oh, it's a 1-year supply. And there's two ways that they do this, and these are the two big deceptions that these storable food companies will pull. And like all the big names do this. Mostly they're just selling total garbage. Number one is they will, instead of using, let's say, 2,000 calories a day for their calculations, they'll keep reducing that to 1,500 calories a day or 1,200 or 1,000. I've seen one food company, if you do the math, it turns out they're only giving you 850 calories a day, which is basically a starvation level diet, right? But they call that a 1-year supply, and it's, $5.99 off the normal price. If you think you're going to live a year at 850 calories a day, think again. You're going to be turning to cannibalism before that year is up, sadly. At least that's what history has shown us. So don't be fooled by that. But the second deception, which is really a con, I should say, is that to achieve the big calorie counts, even if they're using an honest calorie calculation, to achieve that, they're basically selling you cheap calories that are almost completely devoid of nutrition. And basically, these are foods that promote diabetes and obesity. These are the kind of foods they feed to cattle to fatten them up and to pigs to fatten them up. It's basically genetically modified soybean byproducts. So it's soy protein, it's soy oil in some cases, or it's varieties of sugars, high fructose corn syrup and dextrose and maltodextrin and all these things from either GMO corn or GMO soy. And it's very, very common. And the reason they're using all these ingredients is because they produce a tremendous amount of calories so that they can say it's a 1-year supply. Well, let me tell you something. As a nutritionist and a food scientist, when you're in a survival situation, you don't need empty calories that are completely devoid of real nutrition. You actually need more nutrition than ever before. A survival scenario is the time that you need to be on superfoods. You need to have more minerals. You need to have more phytonutrients, that is plant-based nutrients, more natural vitamins, and various molecules that are found in plants that enhance your health and enhance your immune support and speed your healing time and support good decision making. Your brain runs on your blood, and what's in your blood is determined by what you eat. Well, if you're eating garbage food products, your brain is running on garbage, and you're not going to be able to think clearly or focus clearly or stay up all night and have a night watch, to keep your property safe or whatever you might need to do in a survival situation. If you can't think clearly, you're dead, because the number one most important survival tool is that large mass of neurons between your ears. And if you're feeding that junk because you saved money on some cheap garbage 1-year food supply that's basically feeding you GMO corn derivatives and GMO soy, then you're not going to survive very long. So obviously, don't buy survival food that is just based on cheap, empty calories. It's a total scam. It's basically animal feed or sometimes just byproducts of food processing. And these companies are so dishonest. And by the way, even beyond that, you've got pesticides and GMOs and MSG in all these products. And I've tested them. Wise Foods, Mountain House, Patriot Pantry, Legacy Foods, Backpackers Pantry, Chef's Banquet, Augustin Farms, Food for Health, Valley Food Storage, eFoods Direct, Honeyville, and more are full of pesticides and GMOs and hidden MSG, and most of them have GMO soy. Many of them have corn syrup and artificial colors. All of them use some form of refined sugars. Many of them use hydrogenated oils, chemical preservatives, and chemical flavor enhancers. And none of them, to my knowledge, have ever been tested for heavy metals. Now, if you want, excuse me, now if you want clean food, go to organicsurvivalfood.naturalnews.com. There I've got a landing page where we've given you the chart showing all the research of what ingredients are in these different brands. And of course, we're promoting our product, which is produced in partnership with the Numana company. It's the Numana Organic Family Pack. And I'm going to plug it because it's the food that's going to keep you alive. It's the food that's going to give you nutrition. It's certified organic. There's absolutely no junk ingredients in it. None of the garbage that we mentioned. Nothing in there is produced with pesticides. There's no GMO corn. There's no hidden MSG. There's no GMO soy, no artificial colors, no corn syrup, none of that garbage. I could go on and on. It is the best, most pristine, most heavily scrutinized, laboratory verified, organic, storable food product in existence anywhere in the world. And yeah, it costs more. You would expect it to cost more. If it didn't cost more, it would probably be a scam, because real ingredients that are organic and that aren't based on cheap corn and cheap soy, they cost more. But if you're, I don't know, do you really want to have discount nutrition when it comes to your survival? I mean, you got people out there, they'll spend $3,000 on a rifle and good optics, red dot sight, maybe a micro T1 or an ACOG sight or whatever. Just the ACOG alone can run you $2,000. And then they'll skimp on the food. And they end up in a survival situation. They end up boiling textured vegetable protein loaded with MSG. And then they can't figure out why they can't function in a high stress situation, that's survival. It's high stress, right? If you're gonna function in a survival situation, you got to have food that's got good nutrition. And by the way, this Numana food that I co-developed, and it took us over a year to co-develop this has over twice the trace mineral nutrition on average of these other brands. And it has, we tested everything for heavy metals, and it is almost completely free of any heavy metals, just very, very trace levels, detectable, but very, very trace, lower than what you typically find in most other foods. Like we're talking like 15 parts per billion or something, just virtually zero. We typically consider that zero in the laboratory industry. Yet you're getting all this nutrition, higher magnesium, higher zinc. You're getting the nutrients that you need. And because they're organic and because they're derived from, non-GMO plants, you're not getting the poisons and the pesticides and the herbicides and all the garbage that comes with GMOs and conventional agriculture, which is based in poison. So again, go to organicsurvivalfood.naturalnews.com to get real food. And by the way, I've seen this for years. And one of the things that kind of drove me nuts about when I was hosting for some other show that was out there, sort of a popular radio show, I really had an issue, the more I looked into it, with the food products that show was promoting. And that's one reason why I don't get involved in anybody else's networks or shows anymore, because I can't stand the products that they promote. They don't meet my requirements. And I just don't want my name associated with anything less than certified organic, laboratory verified, quality ingredients, high nutrient foods or superfoods or food products. And so that's why I just focus on my own network right now. And I work hard to bring you the truth about all of these things. I do the research. I built out the lab. It's expensive to do that. A couple of $1 million at this point is what I've spent on the lab. And, not just the money, but also the time. A couple of years of my time out there. I mean, the other day I got a pair of pliers and I'm reworking the pad for a giant liquid handling robot that we had installed. The thing weighs like 400 pounds. So we can automate some of our food testing. And I'm like, here I am spending my weekend, with a wrench and a robot. It's like, this is nothing, that's a great amount of fun about that, but it has to be done. And that's how you get to these answers. We are the number one accredited science laboratory that also believes in prepping and organic food. And we know what's coming. We know the global debt collapse is coming. We know about the political strife. I mean, I don't think there's anybody else who actually runs a lab that is aware of the geopolitics or the central banking collapse that's coming, the global debt pyramid, the massive Ponzi scheme, which is pension funds nationwide. You can't find a scientist typically who is aware of anything other than their PhD specialty. So you're just not going to find another lab anywhere that is into preparedness, into survival food, and also highly competent on, firearms and survival and wilderness and wildcrafting, herbs, natural medicines, and is aware of geopolitics and all of that. So if you're a prepper, you're going to get the best science from our lab, cwclabs.com. And our lab has looked at all of these foods, and there's just no comparison. If you want clean food, you got to get, right now, this is the best thing available, and it's the best on the planet, the Numana Organic Family Pack. You can get it at organicsurvivalfood.naturalnews.com. There's just no comparison. Everything else is a total joke compared to that product. And yeah, again, it's going to cost you more, not just a little bit more. It's going to cost you, I think, double, something like that, compared to many other food products. Again, I'm just telling you this up front because that's what it costs to make quality organic preparedness food without the toxic, cheap, garbage GMO corn that you're going to find in every other product out there. We have not found another storable food product on the market that did not use genetically modified corn derivatives. All of them that we could tell so far use those. All of them. They all use, at least the ones we looked at, they all have pesticides in them. They all have hidden MSG. It's across the board. It's funny to me that you got people that are like, they're taking iodine, because they care about their thyroid gland and they want radio protection from possible nuclear events and so on. And they're eating superfoods because they want to be healthy. They want to prevent diseases, so maybe they're taking supplements, or they're eating anti-cancer foods, or they're just juicing at home. They have a good diet or what have you. And then for their storable survival food, they're like, what's the cheapest bargain I can find? Like, what is wrong with this decision? It should be the best food. Your survival food should be the best food of all. And again, the barter value of it too is just huge. So if you ever get in a pinch and you need to barter something, you can either, like if you already have storable food that isn't organic, you can barter that stuff first. Just use that as barter, like food currency, because other people, if they don't know about nutrition and organics and pesticides and GMOs, then they don't care what they're eating. And that's why they're all dying of cancer and diabetes and heart disease, by the way. But you can barter food with people, barter away the stuff you have that's not organic, but then store the organic stuff, this Numana product, for you and your family and anybody that needs the best nutrition to stay healthy. So we've had a lot of customers buying this product and then setting aside their older products for bartering, because until now there really wasn't any certified organic storable food product available. I'm talking about the meals version. Like you could always buy organic wheat and beans and lentils and brown rice and all that, and that's great. I've got a lot of that stuff too. Maybe you do as well. But until now there weren't meals, where you have delicious macaroni and cheese and pasta primavera. Let me just tell you, this has got sweet habanero chili. It's got cheddar broccoli soup. It's got pancake mix. It's got a classic chili. It's got brown sugar oatmeal, mac and cheese, plus there's some quinoa and organic non-fat dry milk and black chia seeds. There is a full complement of meals. So all you have to do is boil water, essentially. Just boil these meals in a pan with water. You just need water and heat, and you can turn these into ready-to-go meals. So until now, there haven't really been meals available in the storable organic foods format. And that's what's really new about this. That's what's so amazing about it. So Again, be careful. I want you to be informed. I want you to make good decisions. If you're buying a 1-year food supply, watch out. Don't get ripped off. Do the calorie counts. And also understand that most of the food companies are just filling out the calories with cheap, genetically modified garbage ingredients and sugars, because sugar is high in calories. So they're just going to load up on sugar, and then they can claim 1-year supply. Well, gosh, you can buy a pallet of Coca-Cola and have a 1-year supply of calories. But that's not going to keep you alive, is it? This is going to give you diabetes. So be smart about what you're buying, especially if you're eating even semi-healthy now. You don't want to downgrade your diet in the middle of a crisis. You don't want to go from eating your relatively clean foods now to eating a bunch of garbage and sugars and GMOs and MSG. It's going to hurt you. So be smart about this, which means avoid Wise Foods for one thing, and Mountain House. I mean, come on. Mountain Houses, people who shop at Walmart buy Mountain House, and they think that's camping food. Yeah, it's animal feed, in my opinion, repackaged as camping food with a bunch of salt and MSG in it. Just total garbage. It's amazing to me that anybody is still buying that stuff. In any case, I know you're smarter than the average consumer, and that's why I'm bringing you this information. Go to organicsurvivalfood.naturalnews.com to get the chart that I'm talking about and a complete description of everything I'm talking about here, including a list of all the toxic ingredients that you should watch out for, that hidden sources of pesticides, hidden sources of GMOs, refined sugars, artificial colors, chemical additives. I've got a complete list on that page. So just be careful, read ingredients, know what you're buying, and don't get ripped off. Thanks for listening. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, for healthrangerreport.com. Click subscribe to stay plugged in to the Health Ranger Report. If you'd like to help support this video and other videos like this, visit healthrangerstore.com, where everything we sell is laboratory tested for heavy metals and more. You'll find superfoods, storable survival foods, nutritional supplements, and a full line of synthetic chemical-free body soaps, shampoos, and oral care products. Everything we sell is non-GMO, and it's all completely free of chemical sweeteners, artificial colors, hydrogenated oils, and other toxic ingredients that you want to avoid. Find all this and much more at healthrangerstore.com.